Good morning, children. Welcome to online chemistry class of class 12 science. Today's topic is the conductance of electrolytic solution. Resistance. It is the hindrance or constraint that is provided by a conductor in the passage of current. That is, it obstructs the flow of current. And the law of resistance is this: electrical resistance of any object is directly proportional to its length and is inversely proportional to the cross sectional area. So we are getting R is proportional to L by A, or R is equal to rho L by A. Rho is called specific resistance or resistivity, which depends upon the nature of the material. When L is equal to 1 unit and area of cross section is also equal to 1 unit, the specific resistance is equal to resistance. That is, the specific resistance or resistivity is the resistance offered by a substance of 1 meter length with area of cross section equal to 1 meter square. So we could write it as rho is equal to R L by A inverse, or R rho is equal to R A by L. The SI unit is ohm meter, and usually for an electrolytic column of length A and area of cross section A, this is in centimeter and area is in centimeter square. So the unit is ohm centimeter, which is not in SI unit. The reciprocal of resistance is known as conductance. That is, it is the ease with which current flows through a conductor. So this G is equal to 1 by R, or as per the law of resistance, if we inverse this, we will get G is equal to K into A by L. K is kappa, and that is called specific conductance, or more known as conductivity. The unit of G is ohm inverse, or this is also known as mho, written in reverse order, or Simon S. L by A, this quantity is called cell constant. If we even change the nature of the electrolyte and will keep the same electrolytic column of length and the area of cross section same, this L by A is constant for a given electrolytic column. The unit of conductivity is ohm inverse centimeter inverse, but not in SI. Again, the conductivity is defined as the conductance of the electrolytic solution between two parallel electrodes, each having an area equal to 1 centimeter square and are separated by a distance of 1 centimeter. The materials are classified on the basis of magnitude of conductivity, as the conductor could be metallic or electrolytic, insulator, semiconductor, or superconductors. The factors affecting metallic or electronic conductance is nature and structure of metal. That means it will only decide how many valence electrons are there so that it can flow, like electron C theory. Number of valence electrons present per atom, the density of the metal, and the temperature. That is, the conductivity increases with decrease in temperature due to increase in the mobility of kernels or holes. The factors affecting the conductivity of electrolytic solution is nature of electrolyte added, size of the ions produced and their solvation or hydration, nature of the solvent and viscosity, concentration of electrolyte, and temperature. And for electrolytic solution, the conductivity increases with increase in temperature. The next quantity is molar conductivity, represented by this. Molar conductivity of an electrolytic solution is the conductance of the 1 molar solution kept between two electrodes of sufficiently large surface area separated at unit distance. So numerically this is equal to K by C is the concentration, usually in molarity, and in order to change the concentration from moles per liter to milliliter, 1000 is there. So C is in moles per liter, and finally the unit is ohm inverse centimeter square mole inverse. Here is the solution how we got this unit. Variation of conductivity with dilution. Now for both strong and weak electrolytes, the conductivity varies inversely with dilution, because on dilution the volume increases. Hence the number of ions or the charge carriers present per unit volume is decreased. Consequently, K decreases on dilution. Let's see the variation of molar conductivity on dilution. As we know, molar conductivity K into 1000 by concentration, or that is equal to N by V, or it is equal to K into 1000 into V divided by N. What we know on dilution, K decreases because of decrease in the number of ions present per unit volume. But since V increases, they counter each other. The increase in volume is so large that it compensates the lowering of K, and finally molar conductivity is proportional to volume. The molar conductivity increases on dilution, that is decreases on concentration. When C tends to 0 or at infinite dilution, the molar conductivity is known as limiting molar conductivity or molar conductivity at infinite dilution. For a strong electrolyte, this variation is explained by a law called Debye-Huckel-Onsager equation, that molar conductivity is equal to limiting molar conductivity minus A square root of C. This is the variation similar to y is equal to minus mx plus c. It's an equation of straight line. This is the slope, negative slope, and this is the y-intercept. And we have the equation as the plot as this. A is the slope, and actually this is obtained by extrapolating the curve. Wherever it meets to the y-axis, this is the y-intercept or limiting molar conductivity. That means this limiting molar conductivity can be obtained by extrapolating the curve at C tends to 0. That means for a strong electrolyte, it can be determined through the graph, where A for a given solvent and temperature is constant, and for all 1,1 type, 2,2 type, 1,2 type, they will have same value. 1,1 type means it is all initial. These are the charges of cation and anion. KCl is plus minus 1,1 type. Whether it is initial or KCl, no matter, it is always having the same value. 2,2 type, all these will have same value. 1,2 type means it will be Na2SO4. 2,1 type means MgCl2. All will have similar value depending upon the type of electrolyte. Collard's law for independent migration of ions. The limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte can be represented as the sum of the individual contributions of the anions and cations of the electrolyte. So, limiting molar conductivity of any electrolyte is the sum of its cation and anion. In case the electrolyte is not binary, it would be A2 plus and 2B minus. So for weak electrolytes, the variation cannot be described to Debye-Huckel-Onsager equation, as it is not given a variation of straight line. It gives a variation like this, where limiting molar conductivity cannot be determined through extrapolation, and this is ruled upon the Ostwald's dilution law, which tells that for weak electrolyte with low degree of ionization at higher concentration, alpha is equal to square root of K square divided by square root of C. That is, at infinite dilution of C tends to 0, the electrolyte dissociates completely, or alpha tends to its maximum value 1. But at such low concentration, the conductivity of solution is very low, so it cannot be measured accurately. Hence, for weak electrolyte, it is obtained by using Collard's law. So, that is obtained through an indirect method. Here, it is showing one example. That is, the limiting molar conductivities of NaCl, HCl and sodium acetate are given. Calculate the limiting molar conductivity of a weak electrolyte, acetic acid. So here the limiting molar conductivity, acetic acid, is the sum of hydrogen ion and acetate ion. So hydrogen ion we will get from HCl and acetate ion we will get from sodium acetate. By adding these two, if we will subtract NaCl from the sum, we will get that for acetic acid. At any concentration C, alpha is the degree of dissociation and alpha is equal to the ratio of molar conductivity at any concentration divided by limiting molar conductivity, and the dissociation constant is equal to C alpha square by 1 minus alpha. So next class we will do the numericals based on all these theories and the questions also.